Good day, good morning, or whatever part of the day that it is for you to join us today. Um, Today, as we've mentioned, we're going to be just walking through the book of Psalms, and today we're on Psalm 3. Let me give you a little bit of background on Psalm 3. Um, you can see in the introduction to Psalm 3 is a psalm of David when he fled from Absalom, his son. So this is a time of deep humiliation for David. Absalom, a very handsome young man, long flowing hair, and just one of those men that people are drawn to. And Absalom had his eyes on his father's throne and finally was able to gather people around him to challenge David, and David had to flee Jerusalem. and and his humiliation was deep embarrassment, and the physical danger that if Absalom's those military people that were loyal to Absalom, if they found David, they would kill him to ensure Absalom's uh, place on the throne of Israel. So it's a tumultuous time for David. It's hard. He's being chased out of Jerusalem. He's on the lam. He's without his normal entourage. He's without those that were in the palace to provide for his comfort. He was without the normal food that he ate. There was nothing he could do to improve his circumstances. And so he writes this psalm, and he, first of all, gives a little bit of a lament, and he says, "O Lord, how many are my foes? Many are rising up against me. Many are saying of me, of my soul, there is no salvation for him in God." In other words, God's not going to come to David's rescue. Even though David was God's anointed, David was God's man. And so these people were in rebellion against God. God had not sent a prophet to speak, to say that the throne was going to be taken away from David. So this was a very presumptuous time for Absalom and those who followed him and were loyal to him, but a very difficult time for David. So, in spite of these circumstances, David writes these words: "But you, O Lord, are a shield about me, my glory and the lifter of my head. I cried aloud to the Lord, and he answered me from his holy hill." And here's the result. Here's the result of what David wrote in verse 3 and 4. "I lay down and slept. I woke again, for the Lord sustained me. I will not be afraid of many thousands of people who have set themselves against me all around." So what David is saying is that, God, you are my shield. I'm not depending on finding loyal military members to gather around me. I'm not going to put the onus on anyone. I'm going to trust you. You are my shield. You are my glory. And I think what David meant by that is that you, God, anointed me to be king over Israel. And so, in a way, you covered me with your glory. And so I'm just going to trust in that. I'm going to trust in your glory. And you are the lifter of my head, which is a sort of a euphemism to describe someone's military conquest, that they lifted their head above people, they're above others, they've conquered them. And David said, "Lord, you are the lifter of my head. Whether I win or I lose, that's up to you." And then David says, I laid down and I slept. Now, I don't know about you, but when things are disintegrating around me and I feel beset by anxiety and worry and concern, I don't sleep very well. And David is saying, here I am out in the woods, out in the desert, and I'm maybe laying down in a cave in hiding, and I'm not worried. I'm going to, God, you are my shield. You're the one that's going to protect me from the arrows of my enemies. Whatever happens is going to flow from your throne. And since I trust you, I'm going to leave everything there at the foot of your throne, and I'm going to trust in you. And David laid down and he slept. He was able to rest because his trust was completely in the Lord. And he will not be afraid of any thousands of people that are set up against him. He closes this psalm by saying, "Salvation belongs to the Lord. Your blessing be on your people." And so today I want to encourage you to own the reality that you are part of God's people. God's reputation is at stake with us. He's not going to abandon us. He's going to follow through on all of his promises, and he is going to guide us and be our shield as we move forward into the coming days and years here in our country. We've got a lot of turmoil. We've got political turmoil. We've got turmoil within the military. I found out this morning that a nephew of mine is on their way to a state where the prison has erupted, and all manner of corruption and illegal behavior on the part of the prison staff and so on has come to light. And so he's leaving Washington D.C. to go and lead that effort to clean that up. And I'm sure he wonders tonight when he lays down, will he sleep well? Well, I know that young man, and I know that his trust is in the Lord. And that's all we can do. And that's what God encourages us to do. God invites us to come into his presence, to see him as a shield against the enemies that can stand against us. We don't have to worry about what the enemy has. We don't have to worry how many people he has against us. We don't need to worry about the guns and the rockets and bombers that are against us. We trust in him. We rest in him. And we believe fervently that whatever comes into our lives first must pass by his throne. And that is a place of comfort. Sometimes I have to remind myself, because I like to get in there and fix things and do things to make things better. That's sort of the way God wired me, is I want to keep making things better and better and better. And for me, the challenge is just to stop and step back and trust the Lord with imperfection, to trust the Lord with things that may not go my way. And I don't know what the circumstances are in your life today, but God does. He knows exactly what's going on, and he wants to be your shield. In fact, he is your shield. Even those days that we worry about things, that doesn't stand in God's way. He is still our shield. Whether we worry and fret, well, that's up to us. But he is our shield. And so I want you to imagine yourself safe behind this huge shield that is God. And he stands in front of you. Nothing is going to get by him that to enter your life except that which he wants to allow. And he is stronger than any thousands of people that might come against you. And salvation belongs to him, and blessing belongs to him. So today, don't waste time looking at how the world is doing, or how politics are doing, or the media, or Hollywood. Today, spend some time just relaxing, coming into God's presence and thanking him for his presence, and letting him wrap his Father's arms around you, no matter what the circumstance is. And give yourself a vacation from the worry and stress of the world, and rest in him. Let him be your shield. There are many hymns that come to mind. Draw me nearer, Lord, to your throne, to the cross of Christ. And that's where we belong, is in the presence of the Lord, not driven to and fro by the forces of the world or our enemy. So God bless you today. I pray that you will know God's richest blessing and the very tangible presence of God in your life today. Spend some time with Him in prayer. Spend some time with Him just in celebration of the reality that He is in charge of anything that comes into your life. So God bless you today. We might see you on Sunday, either here in the PAC building or maybe on the live stream, or maybe you'll be in your own place of worship today or this coming weekend. But wherever you are, maybe you enjoy the richness of God's blessing. So God bless you, and we pray that you have a great rest of the week.